takes 200 pounds of pressure to compress one rocker arm on a Fiziks frame. The frame here is shown with softer springs than actually come with the Fiziks suspension frame. As you see here in this example, it takes 800 pounds of pressure to compress all four rocker arms down to the stop position. We use softer springs in this example to show you the action of the suspension. In this shot here, you see how the frame easily skates over even the biggest bumps in the sidewalk. We are showing this frame with softer springs as well. This example shows how a Fiziks frame cuts in and out of corners at high speeds with ease. As you can see in this example, the four-wheel independent suspension system reacting to the cornering of the frame. The gap in the Fiziks frames is what's known as a four-finger gap, the largest in the industry. Our H-block is also thick all the way to the top. In this example, you can see the rounded profile of the Fiziks frame, which gives the fastest sliding topside and sole grind feel available. Here you see all the parts of the Fiziks frame: rocker arm, springs, pivot pin, axles, frame spacer, and frame. Your Fiziks frame is a suspension system. Fiziks frame is compiled of the following parts. First off, you have your frame, as we refer to as a chassis. The chassis of a Fiziks frame is replaceable. When you've ground up a frame to where your groove is higher than you want it to be, or the side of it is ripped up more than you want it to be, simply replace your chassis for around $45. Remove your internal rocker arms, which go onto each one of your wheel inside. There's 4 for each chassis. You will have 4 springs for each chassis, a pivot pin, which the rocker arm pivots inside. This is your rocker arm. It's pivoting inside on this bolt here. This pin right here controls the rocker arm from going forward when you kick a curve or come down on a strange crash. All these bolts are replaceable, including your axles, which hold your wheels on, just like on a normal frame. Fiziks frame is unique for skaters that like to skate a lot, can't afford to waste $60 on a pair of frames every time they need new frames. They just remove their internal suspension pieces, replace them, put them inside a new chassis, and they're on their way. You can see your axle just floats inside there and never ever gets ground on. Each wheel fits on a rocker arm inside the frame, as you can see, and it pivots inside the frame like this. When you come down and you've given 200 pounds of pressure, the rocker arm allows it to move up all the way to the stop, which prevents the wheel from rubbing the bottom of your boot when you come off of a big gap. This thick part of your frame here is called your stops. It's on both sides of the frame. The stops control the motion of your rocker arm, keeps your wheel from rubbing the bottom of a boot when you jump off something big. See how it works? Operates, boom, hits the stops. Boom, takes 200 pounds of pressure to make this rocker arm go all the way to the stops. What we're showing you here are rubber springs, very soft compared to what comes in Fiziks frames. All wheels have stops. All 4 wheels have stop mechanisms inside. Fiziks frames are reversible. You can ride them on this skate, or you can switch them over to the other skate, and you ride this side with hex shapes. You can grind on this all day long, and you'll never really damage your hardware. You can keep popping it out and putting it into a new pair of frames. All you need to change your Fiziks frames is 2 Allen keys, spring changing jig, and a basic vise. Here we show how to take off your wheels from your Fiziks frames. I'm one of the fastest guys in the world at taking out axles of Fiziks frames. Don't even challenge me. First step in taking apart your Fiziks frames is removing the hex nuts on the side of the frame. As you disassemble your physics frames, you're only going to do 2 rocker arms at a time. Take out the front 2 or the rear 2 depending on what you want to do. Okay, all you do, stick your physics frame with a spring changing jig inside of a vise, crank the vise down just a little bit. You can see your rocker arms have gone up. What this does is clears the back of the rocker arm inside, and these pins can pop out. There's no more pressure on them because you have the springs squished all the way down. So use the back of your tool, pop out your stop pins. They slide right out. So pop it through with a piece of plastic that's not going to damage your threads, and it should come right back out the other side. As you can see, this hole is perfectly clear. There's nothing inside this hole. Your pin can go inside in front of the rocker arm, no problem. That is because the stops are all the way, the rocker arms are all the way up against the stops, clearing the hole. As you can see, no tension on the rocker arms. When the stop pins have been taken out, you can see the rocker arm, the top of the rocker arm fills up the hole here. It's not possible to put your stop pins through. Cannot go through. That is why you have to spring load your rocker arms and get your pins through. Now you want to remove your pivot pins, both of these pins here. Simply take a piece of plastic, push it through. You can see it comes out the other side. Simply pull this out, pull your pivot pin out. Boom, comes out, and you can slide your rocker arm out. And there you have it. You've slid your rocker arms out. And remove your spring out. Now you do the same for the front rocker arm and pivot pin, and continue all the way across your frame till you've removed all 4. The first step in putting your frames back together is putting your springs into your frame. The next step is sliding your rocker arms down into the frame. Once you have those in, situate them so the holes line up and slide in your pivot pin. Next step is to put it into the vise, crank down the vise to clear the holes of the stop pins. And as you can see, the rocker arm's out of the way now, and you can put your pin in. It slides right in. Final step is to install your hex nuts. When you mount your physics frames up, you want to make sure the hex sides that are non-removable ends go on the outside. This is the outside edge of your boot. Hex sides, outside edge. You do your top sides, all your tricks, usually you put a lot of grinding marks here. So line up your hexes so it's on the outside. Put your correct bolt depending on what you skate in the rear. Some skates require a long bolt in the rear. Put in your other front bolt. Find your UFS mount holes. Line it up with your bolt. Put them inside. Now you tighten down your bolts. Give it a little bit back first. Go down to the front. Do it till it's nice and snug. Front and back. Boom. You got to make sure your axles are nice and snug. Every time you skate, check them. Make sure they're snuggy snug. Shown here is a power slide on Fiziks frames, not able to be done on normal frames. Check out the sound it makes. If you're a skater or a skate shop wanting to learn more about Fiziks frames, check us out at rebeldistribution.com or call us at 770-295-2362.